Good evening, Bermuda, and welcome to another episode of Let's Get Social, which is a monthly ministry update with the Minister of Social Development and Seniors, the Honorable Tinee Furbert. And this month we have a lot of exciting news to discuss. So super excited to join you. We did take a bit of a break for the summer, but we are back. Today we'll be discussing foster care fees, the Human Rights Amendment Act, the Human Rights Commission Amendment Act, approved jurisdictions for the adoption of children, safe key and seniors, 5 ways to bridge the generation gap in the workplace. And we do have a special guest that will come on a bit later. We have Mr. Callum Bassett from Age Concern. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the minister so that she can give us a warm welcome and get into our topic.
Yes, good evening. Good evening to everyone, and thank you for joining us for this monthly Let's Get Social. Like Alicia did mention, we did take a bit of a break for summer, but we are glad to be back. The purpose of Let's Get Social is to let the listening audience and the public know what we are doing as a ministry, what we continue to do, so that you just kept abreast and in tune with what the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors is doing. We will host this Let's Get Social once a month. We are aiming for it to be the first Monday of every month. So there's a bit of consistency there that you can look out for these updates. The updates can also be relooked at if you're following government's YouTube page, government's Twitter page, and I believe Let's Get Social is also being shown on WOW 102 and Channel 2 on Cablevision. So we're on government's YouTube page as well as government's Facebook page as well. So just wanted to say hello and good evening and thank you for joining us. Like Alicia mentioned, just wanted to give you a bit of information in regards to the foster care fees. The Ministry of Social Development and Seniors has under its remit the Department of Child and Family Services. And so in May of 2021, we did take the opportunity to increase the foster care fees. I don't know if the listening public may be aware, but the Department of Child and Family Services currently have about 57 children in foster care. And we just want to shout out to our foster parents and children who are in foster care. And thank you for all that you do. But with the foster care fees, the Department of Child and Family Services gives out a foster care fees to help to cover some of the food and personal care items that may be needed for our children. Keep in mind that there are other things in which the Department of Child and Family Services does take care of if there are any other additional needs that are met, but a stipend is given monthly for foster care fees. The foster care fees, probably their rates haven't increased since April 1st of 2009. And so we wanted to be able to increase these fees because I'm sure everyone would know that the rate of inflation does go up at times, although here lately it's been pretty stable. But we wanted to be able to at least bring it up to the rate where the rate of inflation was today. And so we have agreed to increase the foster fee monthly rates retroactively, which started back in May of 2021, an increase of 10%. And then we will do a further 10% effective May 1st of 2022. And then thereafter, there will be annual increases in line with the cost of living index. And so it was just important to be able to bring the foster care fees up to the rate of the cost of living index. And so that's what we have done. And that's with the foster care fees. Just like to speak a little bit about the human. Here we go. If you're interested in becoming a foster parent, please contact the Department of Child and Family Services, Ms. Selena Simons, at 296-7575. Again, we are always in need of loving, caring foster parents. And so if this is something that you might be interested in, you can definitely reach out to the Department of Child and Family Services, Ms. Selena Simons, 296-7575, and she'll be sure to give you answer any questions that you have about being a foster parent. And yes, we do welcome more foster parents, so that we are always ready and able to provide a loving home environment for children who may need it at that time. So I'm going to move on to the Human Rights Commission's amendment. We actually just passed this legislation in the House of Assembly last week, Friday, which was September 10th, 2021. And the purpose of this amendment was to provide a structure or a model for a tribunal adjudication system. So prior to this amendment to the Human Rights Act, there was a board of inquiry. However, the Board of Inquiry did not have a composition structure or an empanelment structure. And so what we have done is we've strengthened the Human Rights Amendment Act to allow for independence of the Human Rights Commission from the Human Rights Tribunal. So we have now established a Human Rights Tribunal, which is actually pretty similar to the Trades and Labor Consolidation Act that we recently changed. And so we've actually used that as a guideline to be able to set up this tribunal. So there are members that will form part of a panel, and that is all part of an application process. So if this is something that you're interested in, the Human Rights Commission will be advertising that soon for persons who are interested in either being human rights commissioners or being part of the tribunal. But basically, the Human Rights Amendment Act set out an appointment mechanism, so how we get appointees to be part of the actual tribunal. It also will allow the selection and appointment committee to be responsible for inviting applicants. The panel is not less than 12, but not more than 15 persons. And the reason you might be thinking, oh, wow, that's a lot of persons. Well, keep in mind that when the tribunal case is actually going on, there are actually only 3 persons who are pulled from that panel who will adjudicate over the matter. And so it's important that we have a pool of people available just in case conflicts of interest may arise or persons may not be available, they may be absent. It's just very important that we have a pool of people that we are able to pull from. And then the qualifications of the panel members will be persons who are attorneys, who have not less than 5 years experience, but also persons who have experience and interest in understanding human rights law or human rights issues. So if you have an interest in this area, when that advertisement comes out in regards to the application process for either Human Rights Commission or Human Rights Tribunal, please share or express your interest. And the Selection and Appointment Committee would be very, very happy to go through that to see if you can be an applicant or be a part of that panel. The Selection and Appointment Committee will also be responsible for appointing the panel, and the panel will have a chairman and a deputy chairman, as well as panel members. So the tribunal has also been established to set up certain powers in which they, can ask people to send in certain documentation to support their claim. So that's all part of, the tribunal process. And then there is also provisions in this amendment to exclude the public where necessary. So if anyone is is a part of a tribunal process, you have the discretion to not have the media be a part of those discussions. And then also there is a mechanism in place to make sure that we are safeguarding persons' information. Um, and that can also be that the framework is actually through the Media Council to make sure that information that is reported, if you so desire to have that information shared publicly, is done so accurately. The Amendment Act also removes all references to the former Board of Inquiry. And so we're very happy to have put into place this amendment to the Human Rights Act. Some people may be thinking, well, there are probably other strengthening things that we could have done for the Human Rights Commission or the Human Rights Act, and we are still looking to make further amendments to the Human Rights Act. This was a very important piece so that cases that are going through the tribunal can now be constituted effectively, and there's a framework to make sure that we are keeping the Human Rights Commission and keeping the Human Rights Tribunal independent of one another. So this was something that we definitely had to pass quite urgently.
Okay, Minister, so we just had a comment come through on Facebook, so I'm going to show it on the screen now.
Okay.
So we have Ms. Keisha Wolf. She just said, hopefully they stick to the conflicts of interest because they didn't before. So I don't know if you have a comment for Ms. Wolf.
So that's a very important point that Ms. Wolf makes, because the way that it was set up before was a board of inquiry, and the commissioners who sat on the Human Rights Commission were actually pulled to be part of that board of inquiry. And so now this is totally separate. There are separate persons who will be doing the adjudication separate from the actual commissioners. And so that was a very important change. So just want to thank Ms. Wolf for bringing that up. And then also, like I talked about, the large number of persons that pool of panels, so that if persons are finding that there is a conflict of interest, we can choose other panel members in which hopefully there's no conflict of interest and they can hear a case fairly.
Okay, perfect. So that was the only comment. So I'm going to let you go on now. And are we going to touch on the approved jurisdictions for the adoption of children? Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
So just to give a little bit of information in regards to the approved jurisdictions for the Adoption of Children's Act of 2006, Bermuda has an Adoption of Children's Act, which came about in 2006. And we also have an adoption rules as part of regulation for adopting children in Bermuda. And as part of the Adoption of Children's Act, the minister has the authority to designate countries in which persons may want to adopt from. And these countries must either be a part of the Hague Convention. The Hague Convention is an adoption sort of if you think of like a UN convention, it's like a convention where countries can come together to make sure that countries have proper child safeguarding laws and proper child safeguarding policies. And so the approved jurisdictions for countries in which persons can adopt from should either be a part of the Hague Convention and not be on the UK restricted list. Or the minister can also designate an approved jurisdiction based on the fact of doing a comparative analogy between different, comparative analysis between different countries to make sure that our child safeguarding laws and policies line up with one another. And so we have had some interest in the two countries of Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. And so we will be looking to allow persons to adopt from the countries of Trinidad and Tobago as well as Jamaica. Trinidad and Tobago as well as Jamaica are not on the UK restricted list. We've had questions in regards to adding other countries such as Haiti. However, Haiti does lie still on the UK restrictive list. And you might be asking, well, what does this UK restrictive list, what is that about? Well, again, when we are looking at inter-adoption between different countries, we have to make sure that each country has proper child safeguarding legislation, particularly around human trafficking, parental consent, a child's rights, whether or not there's a adoption authority or adoption board, and to make sure that the legislation and policies line up for the protection of children. And so this was done in regards to Trinidad and Tobago as well as Jamaica, and we have had some recent requests in regards to those two particular countries. So look out for more information. Look out for more information as this issue is concerned. But we're very thankful to be able to have our sister Caribbean countries to be approved jurisdictions for adoption, particularly for children who need love, care, and attention. So just wanted to share that. Were there any questions in regards to adoption in Bermuda?
If there are any questions, we are moderating all of our social media feeds. So you can add questions as we go, add comments, and we'll bring them onto the screen and answer them. I don't see anything as of yet. So we'll just give people time to continue to post them in.
All right, great. Shall we move on to Safe Key and seniors?
Yes.
So I just want to speak about Safe Key and seniors. The Ministry of Social Development and Seniors have created a bit of access for our seniors, given the amount of technology that is needed to access the Safe Key certificates. And so the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors is making available print-offs of certificates that may be needed for seniors for Safe Key, given sometimes the technology is difficult to access via a smartphone or some sort of smart device. There's some key information in regards to the Safe Key, and it's making sure that you have, because initially when you went to go get your vaccination or maybe your COVID test, there's contact information that is set up within the portals or the systems. And so usually there's an email address that's attached to your vaccination certificate or your COVID testing. There's an email address or contact number that's attached. It's very important that seniors are aware of what email was used initially for the vaccination certificates as well as COVID testing, so that that will actually help us when processing these certificates for seniors to come and collect, or you can send someone to come and collect on your behalf if someone in your family or friend is unable to access the Safe Key documentation for you. So I just wanted to let seniors know, the seniors who have maybe they just don't have the availability of a computer or printer, that we are printing off Safe Key certificates for anyone that's interested, and you can make an inquiry about this directly to this ministry, and the number is 444-2466, or you can send in an email to halister@gov.bm. The ministry is not open for walk-in access, but you can definitely give us a call. If someone does not pick up the phone, please leave your contact details so that we can get back to you. But we are assisting. And I also just like to mention that the Bermuda Library is also available for print-offs of SafeKey. So they have free access to the use of computers if you wanted to be able to access the SafeKey information there as well.
Okay, perfect. So at this time, we are going to bring on our guest, which is Age Concerns Business Development Manager, Mr. Callan Bassett. So the minister will touch on 5 ways to bridge the generation gap in the workplace. And then if Mr. Bassett has anything to share, which I'm sure he will, he can opine in. And then we'll get into Age Concerns offerings and he'll give us a presentation. So Mr. Bassett, I'm going to add you in now.
Good evening.
Hello, Mr. Bassett.
Hello, Minister. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Really yes, thank you for joining us. And so I thought I would bring you in on this particular topic before we actually discuss all the wonderful things that Age Concern does for persons who are over the age of 50.
50, that's right.
In Bermuda. I have to say that because I remember speaking about the age bracket because people say 50, I'm not no senior.
Yeah, we're trying to break away from that stereotype. It's not a seniors charity, it's an older adults charity.
It's an older adults charity.
Things for specifically for 50 to 65-year-olds. So yeah, we're opening it up. So we're happy to have anyone who's eligible.
Absolutely. So, we still need to be thinking about all those things that we will need as we age, right? And so 50 is a good age to be.
Good time to start. Retirement
planning. Time to start to be thinking about
and,
what sorts of things we will need as we continue to age. Mm-hmm. And so what I want to take this opportunity to do is we're just going to chat a little bit about 5 ways to bridge the generational gap in the workplace. And I think this is a very important topic because if you're a younger person entering the workplace and you have supervisors or persons who've been there for a while who are older adults, you have to try to figure out how to best communicate or how to best relate, who you can learn from and how you can learn from each other in that generational that age demographic. And so it's just important that, we don't go in there thinking that we know it all. You want to go in there being able to learn from one another, the older learning from the younger learning from the older. And so I want to bring this up, particularly government had passed legislation to increase the retirement age in the workplace. And given Bermuda's the data that we have in regards to our growing seniors population, seniors will be absorbed in our workforce for longer. And, it's very important that we're able to bridge that generation gap of younger people coming into the workplace while there are still older adults in the workplace as well.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I found that myself personally as an under 50 person myself. When I joined in Age Concern, you have to realize that you have to have a wide variety of communication styles to get the most impact, and you have to know where you can feed off of the benefit of others. So a lot of times, especially people my age, the millennials, we'll go in thinking, we know all about computers, and we know all about the cool technology, and we can teach all these guys something. And a lot of the older workers will think, oh, I have the experience, these little young hunters,
yes.
and there's a real disconnect. And what I found is the best type of work environments are the ones that reinforce the best benefits that each side can bring. So,
right.
When I go into a new office, or when millennials go into a new office, what we should do is humble ourselves and take into account the experience, the industry experience, the logistical, the administrative experience that came before us, because knowing how to use Excel the best is not going to get you everywhere.
That's right.
And knowing how to use PowerPoint the best is not going to get you everywhere.
It's
You need to
also
be able
important to recognize
yeah,
that people do things differently, right? There's not just one way to skin a cat. There are many ways to do something. And sometimes we can be in the workplace and think this is the way, this is the only way it should be done, when there are many ways that we can get to the outcome in which we want.
exactly.
So I'm just going to talk about that first way, and that is to provide a variety of communication channels. You talked about communication, Callan, and in today's world of technology, we have email and WhatsApp and
Exactly.
text, and
Zoom and
just
Facebook. And,
remembering that we still have the old-fashioned phone as well, right? So
exactly.
there may be people in the workplace who did not grow up knowing how to operate these smart devices. And so it's important to provide a variety of communication channels in the workplace. And of course, in the inclusion of face-to-face meetings, right? In this COVID environment, everything's now been on Zoom or been on some sort of electronic platform, but we still also have the telephone as well. And so I think, particularly in the workplace, it's always important to ask the question, what is your preference of communication?
Exactly. Yes, I mean, I totally agree. Part of the majority of my membership, I feel, responds best to face-to-face or telephone calls.
Yes.
You can't beat the classics. There's more of uh, a tangibleness to it to
Hmm.
actually hear someone's voice on the phone. And if people are
Yes.
comfortable with it, then I then by all means go that route. But also keep open to the new types of technologies that are out there, so you can get the synergies from both. So right now, when we have meetings with our management team or with our volunteers, or if we interact with our members, we will do it through online, through Zoom, through WhatsApp. That's a big one,
Yes.
and telephone calls as well. So we find that yes, it is better when we open up the lines of communication as wide as possible without trying to say no, my way is the best. Trust
Exactly.
me, so let's stick with this. Yeah.
So we can definitely bridge the communication gap by supplementing with different types of communication in the office. And I think that that's important because I remember one time hearing, oh, well, the new way to go is email, So just remembering that sometimes it takes people a little bit longer to catch on to certain types of technology. But I have to say, we have some savvy seniors out there who know how to work their smart devices,
Uh-huh.
and WhatsApp in particular.
Yeah. My grandma WhatsApps me all the time. Yeah. You'll be surprised. Oh.
So let's move on to the second way to bridge the gap of generation in the workplace. And that is to, in the workplace, establish a two-way mentorship program. And what we mean by that is within the organization, make sure that you're paired with someone who is older, someone who is younger. It also helps to build stronger interpersonal relationships in the workplace between colleagues, and it's also important to do reverse mentoring. And reverse mentoring is, again, the younger person taking the opportunity to mentor and guide and teach an older person.
Mhm.
Again, that goes back to us not knowing everything in the workplace and being open to being able to learn from each other. And so that two-way mentorship approach is important for organizations to be able to develop in the workplace when we're talking about, or we're serious about, bridging the generational gap.
Yeah, agreed. And one thing I found is that each individual group has their strengths. So when it comes to mentoring and tutoring, for example, the older adults can learn more about social media. How to stay on top of their clients or their customers. How to work on marketing, on online marketing, social media marketing, and the older adults tend to have more of a handle on the face-to-face communication, on the personal touch, right? So, I found that where we break down is by thinking that our way is the best way or our way is the only way. I found that when we are in a learning spirit, that we it can really improve the synergies and improve your business operations, whether it's your business, your nonprofit, or your government ministry or department. So
Absolutely.
yeah, really just being open to understanding and learning from the benefits from your counterparts.
Absolutely. And I think this next way is a very important way, and that is put respect front and center. And I always, I live by the Bible verse, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I think that respect is very important when in the workplace, when dealing with different generations in the workplace. We'll see that each age group will be more will be more open to listen from input from those persons who are different. So we take baby boomers, for example, who may have an intense work ethic and they're motivated by challenge and they want to be appreciated or respected for their maturity. But the Gen Xers want to be respected for their self reliance and independence and their ability to be able to operate technology, as well as the millennials as well, seeking respect for their ability to um, operate technology and their ability to multitask. And
Yeah.
so it's important to recognize what each demographic, what each age group brings to the table, in understanding how to put respect front and center.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you will never have a good working environment if respect isn't front and center. And we're all different people. We all have different value systems, and have different backgrounds. But I feel, yeah, when you walk into that workplace, you put your best foot forward. You be objective with the person you're dealing with, and yeah, you show respect and that'll allows you to have the best working relationship with it. Now,
Absolutely.
a lot of times we are human. If someone isn't doing the thing that you want them to do, it can be frustrating. So while it is easy to say that turn the right cheek and and have respect at all times, it is a process. It should be something that isn't just taken for granted. Like you just say, in this office we respect each other and that's it. No, you should be able to instill that into your company culture wherever you may be, because yeah, it is a very, very important part of the working relationship of your staff. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's also very important to recognize that we all age. Every year we have a birthday and we get a little older.
Yeah.
And so remembering that we're going to,
Mhm.
God willing,
Well,
we're
let me
going
get
to
to
be
that
that age
stage.
one day.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we're all on this merry-go-round. We all have the same amount of years on this earth, so we're not that different because some people were born a decade or so after others. So yeah, I think if we just realize that we're all going to get to that stage one day, and when we do, God willing, you would want the same type of respect that you should be giving to people now, right?
Absolutely. So we'll move on to point number four. And point number four is avoid making assumptions, right? Always
Mhm.
ask questions. The key is to let people surprise you. If there's a reason to acquire an overall understanding of the generational characteristics, it is important to avoid making assumptions about anyone's skills or anyone's preferences. Sometimes in Bermuda, we can be very judgmental, and you kind of get information, people share information about a particular person before you've even met them. And so you want to
Yeah.
be able to decipher on your own what that person's like, what their skills and what their characteristics are like on your own, and not to take any one sort of thoughts or judgments to be your thoughts and judgments. I think that that's very important in the workplace when bridging generations. We also have to make sure that each team member um, we share what our preferential working style is, right? Or what sort of working style would make us most happy. We talked a little bit earlier about millennials being able to multitask. I swear, the older you get, you learn that multitasking isn't always best. I mean, I remember
I just focus on one task at a time. Yeah, we get that.
one task at a time.
We sure it's done right.
Get that one done and then move on to the next one, because you drive yourself very crazy and robotic, doing too much sometimes. But yeah, don't make assumptions about a person's skill or characteristics. Definitely ask those questions, and even ask why are you doing it that way. And I'm sure the explanation would be like, okay, now I get it. I get why you're doing it that way. So
yeah, I mean, this is so important, especially when it comes to the age gap in the workforce. We all know that people tend to have certain stereotypes when it comes to millennials. We're all stuck on our phones all day. We're, lack work ethic or what have you, or bounce, or short attention span. And then there are same type of stereotypes for like you said, for the baby boomers or the Gen Xers, right? They're more regimented. They don't want to learn new things. But again, you cannot pull these assumptions in, because the opposite can be true on either case. On one of our offerings we did through our membership department is an education series on social media. And you will find that a lot of these 70s, the 80-year-olds and above, they're savvy. They're on Facebook, they're on WhatsApp, they're calling their grandsons on WhatsApp every day. And so yeah, you cannot walk into any type of environment, but really specifically, especially a work environment, with any type of assumptions on how people are going to operate or behave or work.
correct.
Because we're all individuals, so you have to give people a chance to show you who they are before you pigeonhole them, essentially.
And it's interesting because even, I mean, listening to some of my children's lingo when they're describing things now, I feel, I'm in another generation. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't understand what you're talking about. Can you talk proper so I can understand? I can understand what your generation. So I have to be able to not make assumptions and to ask those questions. What do you mean?
Exactly.
And the last point, in regards to 5 ways to bridge the generational gap in the workplace, is to guard against age segregation. You'll notice in the workplace, there are certain groups of people who will congregate together, people maybe according to their age, or you may have people who have similar interests. And there may be someone young, someone who is older. But conversations tend to be a little bit more easier when everyone has a similar frame of reference, right? Things that you could relate to. And so it is important to still have those things that happen in the workplace, in regards to hanging out with age mates when you're not at work. So doing things outside of work, because we want to create some cross-pollination between the generations and help to bridge gaps that way. So any sort of thing, whether it's in the office, in the organization, or outside of work, that allows for the opportunity for recognition of employees to express gratitude to each other, is an important element which must always be fostered in the workplace. That's very important. It's very key to be able to create that culture of recognition in the workplace. You do a good job by doing this. We appreciate you when you do that. I think that's very important to bridging the gap in the workplace or guarding against age segregation.
Yeah, I think that even doing things simple like not breaking off into your age mates groups at lunch, or maybe if you have an office lunch, sit next to someone who you haven't really spoken with before, because I mean it happens in age, but really it can happen in any type of demographic where you're just you want to segregate yourself with the people who you most relate with. But again, that's not going to lead to good synergies across the country. It's not going to lead to good working relationships.
Correct.
And it's not going to lead to good personal growth. Right? You need to
That's right.
some of the ways that I've broadened my horizons and I've broadened my understanding the most is by having conversations with people in my new in my new position as business development manager at Age Concern. You'll hear some of the best stories from people outside of your age
Yes.
range, you know.
Yes.
So really, if you segregate yourself based on age or any demographic, you're really shutting yourself off from new experiences or new perspectives that can really help you individually and personally and professionally. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Thanks for joining in this discussion today
very well.
in regards to 5 ways to bridge the generational gap in the workplace. But we are going to move on.
Okay.
And we're going to get you to share with us a little bit about Age Concern and what Age Concern does for our community, as well as the upcoming membership drive that is happening with Age Concern.
Okay, yes, exactly. All right, perfect. So basically, at Age Concern, for those who don't know, we're a nonprofit that's focused on enhancing the quality of life of Bermuda's 50 plus population. We do this primarily in three different areas. The first is client services. The second is our advocacy, and third is the membership program. So when it comes to client services, that covers things like uh, information and advice on. So, for example, if you have an issue in your personal life and you're a 50 plus member of the public, and you don't know where to turn to, whether that means you have legal questions, whether you're food insecure, or what have you, then you can call Age Concern, and we have a list of social partners that we have of social services that we can walk you through that and make sure you get the help that you need. Additionally, we also have our own hardship program, so which helps individuals in the public who we deem on a case-by-case basis could use our services. And for example, throughout the past year, Age Concern has spent over $100,000 in our hardship program on things like groceries, electricity, rent, as well as prescriptions and medical supplies. So really, we just want to make sure that there's a resource that every 50 plus age person in Bermuda can turn to if they have any sort of issue in their own personal lives. Because again, a lot of time there is a wealth of resources, but it's hard to tell where to go. So you can always rest assured that call up the Age Concern and we'll walk you through the whole process. And if we deem your need as immediate, we can actually pull into our own hardship fund to help you. So to do that, you just have to email client services at ageconcern.bm or call us at 238-7525 between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. Secondly, we have our advocacy. So basically, that's where we speak on behalf of the 50 plus population to lobby for things, whether it's on the public or private level or anything in between that can aid the 50 plus population. So, for example, through our advocacy efforts, we help the formulation of the island's first geriatric aid program. We introduced the Seniors Week. We was able to gain a reduction in land tax for seniors, and we helped to expand the benefits of HIP for medical coverage. And then lastly, we have our membership program. So that is primarily what I came here to talk about today. And I would just share my screen here. All right. So yes, this is the Age Concern membership program where we enhance the lives of Bermuda's 50 plus population. So yeah, like I said, the mission of Age Concern is to enhance the quality of life and promote the rights and opportunities of older adults of Bermuda. And our vision is to have Bermuda as an international community of excellence, where optimal health and well-being, financial security, civil participation, and dignity are equitably experienced by residents as they age. And again, like I said, leadership, our client services, and our advocacy. And this is our home team here. So this is if you come to our age concerned head offices, these are the people that you will see operating there. That's me in the middle, if you can't tell. And so our membership program, it's broken down into 3 different sections. First is our merchant discount list, which offers our members discounts on products and services throughout the island in several different areas, which I'll get into. We have our education series, and that's where we help the 50 plus members to learn the skills that they need to age with dignity and success. And then third, we have our member activities and events, which we hold because we understand that being social, as long as we're safe and we abide by COVID-19 safety standards, being social is a very important part of not just mental, but physical health as well as you get older. All right. So first is our membership, our merchant discounts. So what discounts do members get? So if you join to Age Concern, you get discounts on food, on fuel and auto services, on clothing and footwear, on health and fitness, medical supplies, legal services, beauty supplies, and home and landscaping. So it runs the gambit. Essentially, we try and focus on the areas where a 50 plus population will most spend their money, and find the top vendors in those fields to offer us discounts. And we are always open to suggestions from our membership as well on discounts that they don't see but would like. And then we go and do that research and bring those services on as well. And here's a brief breakdown on the average amount that our members tend to save per year in each individual area. So altogether, I won't go through the whole list, but altogether, members can save between $500 and $700 per year on all these services just by getting their Age Concern membership. So really, when you look at the type of discounts you get, it's worth the membership just on that alone. But then we go on and we go to our education series. So here's just a brief breakdown of the type of education products that we offer. We do financial literacy. We do legal clinics, including understanding trusts, power of attorney, wills and estates. We also offer an entrepreneurship class, which is good for the 50 to 65 population who are looking at ways to diversify their revenue stream or to bring on build a company for their retirement. So again, this is not just for the 65 and above. We definitely have things that are for the 50 plus year olds as well. We have lessons on caregiving. We have a symposium on caregiving where we help people to understand the tools and resources they need to be a proper caregiver to their loved ones. We also have classes on social media and computer use, which was the hit with our, again, like I said, a lot of our older members are hip and up on WhatsApp and Facebook and Twitter as well. So that was a nice surprise. And lastly, we have health and fitness sessions as well. So again, these are predominantly free of charge as members. Just join as members and you have access to our education calendar and just join. We have these classes each individual year. And additionally, if you miss a session, we do have them recorded on our website for our members to access as well.
Kellen, so we had a question come in.
Oh, yeah?
Angelita Deal asked about land tax reduction for ages 50 plus.
Yes, that was something that was done before my time, so I would have to do research and get back to her. So if she could please leave her contact, I will certainly do that. And thank you for that question.
Perfect.
All right. Is that the only question? Okay.
Yeah, so that was the only question for now.
Okay, perfect. And then next, we're looking at our at offering our event and activity calendar. So, as we all know, we have had to kind of stop our activities and our events throughout the COVID pandemic. So, with the introduction of the launch of our new office at Admiralty House, where we have event space and a huge kitchen for events, as well as the uptick in vaccinations across the island, predominantly in the 50 plus population, we will start to look at holding more of these events and activities in the future. Because again, one thing that we found throughout the past year of the Age Concern is social interaction, just talking to someone, just having some sort of social connection is extremely, extremely important. Not just for your mental health, but your physical health. It does things like lower your blood pressure, like it eases your stress. So we see this as a very important part of our membership offering as well. And again, these will all be free of charge. Well, it'll be included in your yearly membership. And as long as we stay safe, and we take into account the COVID precautions, then we see no reason why we can't get our older adults social again. All right, so now you ask, how much is it for all of this? So we break down our memberships into 3 different categories. Our bronze members are members between the ages of 50 and 64, and that is $35 per year. Our silver members are ages between the ages of 65 and 79, and that's $28 a year. And then we have our gold members, which are ages 80 and above, and that's actually free of charge. We want to make sure at that point that you just have access to the resources that Age Concern offers. So we do that free of charge. And then that's it essentially. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Stop sharing here. And again, if anyone wants to learn more about Age Concern membership, you can give us an email at membershipdesk@ageconcern.bm or give us a call at 238-7525. Oh, there we go, right there. Or you can visit us at ageconcern.bm. Now, lastly, as you spoke about briefly before, Minister, we are actually having an official launch of our new offices at Admiralty House. We're having it this Thursday. Unfortunately, it won't be open to the public because, again, we have COVID restrictions. But we have invited a host of MPs, both from the PLP and the OBA, as well as government ministers. So we will be looking at having speeches by yourself, Minister Furbert, the acting Minister of Public Works, Wayne Furbert, as well as the leader of the opposition MP and co-signers. It'll be held from between 12:30 to 1:15 p.m., where we will go through the future of Age Concern, our plans for the future when it comes to our client services, our hardship program, our long-term care program, and our membership program, as well as the type of events that we will be going to launch into the future, and just a show of support and a thank you for all of our partners who have helped us get to where we are so far. And just to show that, now that we have our new offices, the COVID pandemic, we're getting more people vaccinated, so we're looking to hit the ground running and get to serving our 50 plus population in any way that they deem necessary.
Awesome.
So, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 2 questions. So the first one was Judith Bartley on YouTube. She's just asked about jobs for seniors.
What, sorry?
Jobs for seniors.
Jobs for seniors. Okay. We typically don't have a jobs program, but again, we do have a client services program who if you contact them, then they'll be able to help you. I'm not understanding the question. Are you looking to find a job advice, or is it help with?
Yeah, it's a very broad question, and particularly the age of this senior as well. I think it would be good to have some more information, Ms. Bartley, If you want to call the office here at 444-2466 as well, so that we can get some more information when you're speaking of jobs for seniors.
Yeah. But yeah, again, we will be able to help. Like I said, we are a hub for senior services across the entire board. So if you call us again at 238-7525, we'll be happy to help you if you're on the hunt for a job, if you're looking for career advice, or simply help with your CV or with interview prep. We will be happy to help you there. So just give us a call.
Okay, and then Ms. Angelina Dill has asked, do the different membership provide different levels of service or savings?
No. So each member gets access to the same type of membership discounts, to the same education program, and to the same social services. We stagger the prices because typically the 50 to 65 adults are more of the working population, so they can spend a little more. Again, it's just $35 a month from 50 to 65, and 28 from 50 to 64. Sorry. 28 from 65 to 79, and 80 and above is free. But again, all
And
of
I
these
think you want to clarify that because I think you said 35 a month. It's actually a year.
a year. Sorry,
Yeah.
This is the yearly prices, 35 a year. Yeah. But yeah, all of our members get access to the exact same services, but it's not like we ration services, so we wouldn't have to do that anyway. If you need assistance, then we'll be able to help.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I don't see any more questions.
Okay.
Just want to thank those persons who did ask questions and give comments. I think that's very important in our interactions and our desire to connect with people in our community. So just thanking you.
Yes, thank you. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or an email, and we will be happy to assist. All right. Well, yeah, I'd just like to say thank you guys for having me on. I truly appreciate our partnership going forward between Age Concern and the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors.
And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Callan. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday. That big membership drive. Encourage everyone to get out if you are over the age of 50 to take advantage of those amazing membership benefits that you do get through Age Concern. And they are definitely a group that advocates on behalf of seniors. Any questions that you may have senior related, you can reach out to Age Concern as well as the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you so much, Callan. Okay, Minister. So, as you discussed in the beginning, our next episode of Let's Get Social is going to be on Monday, October 4th at 6 p.m. So we'll put out some promotions to let you know what the topics are going to be, but that is the next episode date. And if you do have any last questions or comments for us, please put them on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube so that we can present them to the minister. Just looking through the comments. If Ms. Wolf is still on, she did say that she was inquiring about disability. I don't see any additional questions, but Ms. Wolf, if you are on, please present your questions.
So Let's Get Social is a monthly update in regards to what's happening with within the ministry. And so I think Ms. Wolf was asking a question in regards to disabilities, and if she goes back to look up the previous YouTube pages that we have on updates within the ministry, then you'll see all of the issues, concerns, the things that we've done within the ministry as it relates to anyone which falls under the remit of this ministry. So not every episode will we be talking about issues as it relates to persons with disabilities or issues as it relates to persons with seniors. We may touch on some other topics as well, but we've definitely touched on those topics in previous episodes. We're actually looking, which we're quite excited about, we're going to be doing I don't know if you call it a webinar or information session in regards to inclusion with disabilities. So we're quite excited to be bringing that soon.
We do have things forthcoming, Ms. Wolf, so just stay tuned. And we do have your contact details, so I will just be sure to include you and the Disability Center of Bermuda, just so that you can be aware of what the ministry has coming forward. So it looks like those are all of our comments and questions for this evening. Thanks to everyone that has tuned in. We will be back again next month on October 4th. But if there is anything that is needed in the interim, you can go ahead and send us an email to ask@gov.bm. So I put it up on the screen for you. So if it's anything for the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors, or any questions or topic ideas that you want addressed, go ahead and email us, and then we can communicate directly with you. But I'll let the minister give you a warm goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And again, we're looking forward to doing this once a month. The next one is October 4th. And please feel free to send us questions in advance as well at ask@gov.bm. So thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to chat with you on Let's Get Social.
Yes. Good night, Bermuda.